sources have told us that Trump and his team are planning to expand efforts to limit China's tech advancements, including tougher chip curbs and perhaps pressuring allies to also get in line. Let's bring in Minmin, our China correspondent, for more details on what we know so far.
Yeah, so the Trump administration is now sketching out a tougher restriction regime on these chip export restrictions to China. And Trump administration officials have been meeting with their counterparts from Japan and Netherlands to discuss ASML and Tokyo Electron's disallowing those engineers from servicing these chip-making gears in China. And of course, when this servicing is stopped, it could cause these chip-making gears to lose their functionality. And aside from that, they're looking at tightening the restrictions in terms of the exports of advanced chips to China, including restricting the sale of these specific chips designed for China to meet the pre-existing restrictions that had been imposed by the Biden administration. Trump officials also looking at potentially toughening restrictions on SMIC, which is Huawei's main manufacturing partner, as well as Changxin Memory Technologies, which is a key front runner in the Chinese chip race. And on top of that, remember we had that rather complex sort of AI diffusion rule where the US had divided the world into 3 different tiers, imposing a computing cap on how much computing power you can sell to each tier of countries. And officials now looking at limiting or lowering that threshold of computing power that can be exported without additional license. So again, expanding that overall license requirement, which already had drawn pretty sharp rebuke from companies, including the likes of NVIDIA, that had been hoping that the Trump administration would take a lighter regulatory touch here.
You see there SMIC, for instance, and it's been quite a stunning reversal for that name so far in the session. How is China likely to react?
Well, I mean, this has been going on for so long, and there's just 2 competing narratives here, right? Whether that doubling down of restrictions on China will cause China to just pour in more investments and push ahead with more out-of-the-box innovation that have fueled the likes of the breakthroughs from DeepSeek, for example. And there's the other idea of whether that would actually curtail China's rise. And so far, we have seen some companies, the likes of ByteDance, even DeepSeek, considering ways to skirt around these restrictions without violating U.S. rules, for example, by looking at renting servers overseas in data centers in Southeast Asia, for example, that are powered by NVIDIA chips. That's one possible method to go about it. But you can imagine that at some point, U.S. regulators will likely also catch up with that. At this point, it's not clear what, countries like Japan and Netherlands would do in response to this new administration. So a lot of moving parts. And again, that sort of game of cat and mouse regulatory catch-up that will likely keep playing out throughout the rest of the year.